safe drinking water by embracing new technology, by being very much adaptive in terms of our planning. Currently, we are being faced by a drought situation in a number of counties. We still have huge water losses within the country, almost at 45%, that do not generate any revenue. If we tap into non-revenue water, water that goes to loss, if we tap into technologies, if we invest strategically in huge dams and distribute water equitably, then we'll be able to move towards achieving universal access to clean and safe drinking water. Perhaps the other thing I need to mention is that in terms of moving forward as a country, we need to commit ourselves to sustainable development goal, which stipulate that by 2030, all human beings should have access to clean and safe drinking water. And therefore, the opportunity lies in adopting technology, going adaptive planning, and addressing issues to do with climate change.
And Ishmael, looking at access to water, it is now deemed as a basic right for humans in the Constitution. And looking at this particular week that we are marking, the Water Week, perhaps what sort of technologies can be embraced? Because everybody is talking about we need new technology. What technology is this?
Thank you. And it's not one solution fits all. And that's why we are bringing partners from outside to come and showcase some of the products that they have that will work for this country. But we also have, as Dr. Sigi said, our counties, they have done a lot. So there are other counties, for example, Nyeri. The people in Nyeri are accessing water 24 hours, 7 days a week. So how can also that happen in other parts of the country? What is it that they're doing in Bomet that can be shared with Kakamega, for example, or Garissa? And I believe if we bring our brains together as a nation, we can find solutions to our problems. The other aspect that this conference will be different from is we are bringing our institutions. For the first time, we are asking all our universities, both public and private, to come up with an innovation. In fact, I was going through some of the sample innovations that they have done, and it's mind-boggling that these people were sitting with gold and bringing that to KICC is going to make a huge difference in the country. So we are basically solving our own problems from our own institutions who are coming up with the solutions. And that is something that has never been done in this country, and it's going to happen at KICC that week.
Interesting. Dr. Sigi, looking at the terrain we have in Kenya and the climate, we've had rainfall that has been water going to waste, really, in terms of water harvesting solutions are not so well executed in Kenya. Perhaps out of this conference and also as a county, what are some of the models you are considering to implement when it comes to water harvesting and also water management?
Okay, first and foremost, each region will be having different sets of strategies. For example, you go to ASAL counties where dams, earth dams and water pans are the key strategies. And even if you look at what these counties like Machakos, counties like Wajir, Mandera, they have constructed a lot of water pans. They have even invested heavily in acquiring equipments. And then you go to these counties where they are more or less endowed with a lot of water resources. Yeah, but these water resources are not tapped. So in these other counties, like the counties near water towers, what we actually require is dams, these mega dams. And also we require to, because for example, the Mau, rains come, Mara River floods, and in 3 days it is in Kisumu, in another 3 months it is in the Mediterranean. So we could tap this by investing. There are a number of dams which they are in the national master plan, like the Amala Dam. We also have the dam in Mau, and we also have these other dams in other water towers. So I think the key thing is the government, both levels of government needs to invest on water harvesting, because as it was, the climate change is a serious threat. So we need to look at climate change and water security. And I will urge the counties and the Kenyans to embrace the issues of harvesting from mega to small, because even institutions where the counties have been even assisting public institutions like schools by acquiring water tanks for them. These are at the micro scale, which helps these institutions to do water harvesting.
Interesting.
Yes.
Many thanks, gentlemen. Of course, we'll keep this conversation alive through the week. I've been speaking there to Dr. Sigi, CEC, Bomet County, and we also had Ismail Shai, who is going to still join us as we proceed. That is the Chief Executive Officer for Water Services Trust Fund. And to my far end, we have Abdi Wario, who represents Kenya. Welcome back. You're watching KTN Business Today with me, Abi Agina, and we continue with that interesting conversation around water management in the country. Of course, this being the Water Week being held in Nairobi. And joining me right now, we have to my far end, Doris Kaberia, who represents the Millennium Alliance. She represents the civil society. Just in the middle, we have Ismail Shai, who is the CEO of Water Services Trust Fund. And to my immediate left, we have Engineer Boniface Maneki, representing the Water Resources Management Authority, that is WARMA. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just pick up from where we left it at. Water management remains a big issue in the country. We've already seen politicization of water resources in terms of their placement. There have been concerns around these resources would bring desertification, and also they are not shared in the manner that they should be shared to the people on the ground. Perhaps let's bring you in, Doris. What are your views regarding the recent developments?
Yeah, water sector, of course, is complex. There are many developmental challenges, and government cannot go it alone. We require to work with the civil society organizations, private sector in managing the water resources. The water resource itself is scarce and it's finite, meaning that if we don't manage it, it will get exhausted. So together, during the Water Week, we are bringing civil society organizations, government, national and county, and private sector to discuss and set the way forward on modalities that can support us in managing the water resources, particularly in a country like Kenya, where we don't meet the threshold of, meeting, giving every Kenyan water and sanitation services.
Engineer Moniki, of course, you've seen what's been happening in the news. Former Prime Minister indicating some of these water projects, for example, in Muranga. The other one also raising a lot of eyebrows in terms of the procurement, the impact it will have. Have these projects been taken through the right environmental impact assessment?
Yes, all the projects that have been undertaken and are planned to be undertaken have all gone through all the procedures or regulations that are required from the government and from any other agencies that allows such works to go on. So, and I think it has already been highlighted that Kenya is a water scarce country. We are already complaining that when it rains, water is going down to the ocean.
Yeah.
We need to take measures to store this water when it is available and use it when it is not available. So such measures, I think, they are very important for us. If you look at our development plans, they are all dependent on water. So we need to collect this water, store it, and use it when it is required. So I think such efforts are very important, and it is very clear, the law is very clear that you do such things, you need to do 1, 2, 3, and it has all been done.
All right, and let me bring you in, Ishmael. Looking at these developments, of course, as the Water Services Trust Fund, the bigger question is, as a country, do we have a master plan that sort of gives us the roadmap towards implementing the water resources in the country?
Absolutely, we do have a master plan for this country, but does it need to be updated? Yes. And as I was saying, Kenya being a water-stressed country, we have both climate change impact and also population impact. And also the competing interest of industries and the other sectors.
All right.
So we have all those into play, but we do have a master plan in this country, but does it need update? Yes.
All right. And Doris, what really has been the input of civil society in the issues to do with water resources?
Yeah, the main input from civil society is actually to support and leverage the efforts of the government. The civil society supports in terms of finances, to leverage the finance, contributed by the government, and globally, civil society contributes between 3 to 7%. So you can clearly see between 93 to 97% is investments that are put by the government. And so the society also support in terms of implementation of policies and ensuring that the standards that are set by the national government are met at the community level.
Mm-hmm. And Engineer Moniki,
Yes.
Where are we as a country in terms of our water resources? Because we've seen the drought that has hit northern Kenya.
Yes.
And of course, water is the common theme. There's no water for farming. There's no water for the animals. Where do we stand as a country?
I think, like Ismail has said, we are already having a master plan that has already identified key issues in water management. First, we have identified how much we need up to the year 2030, and we have already identified what is available. And according to us, it's less than what is needed. So we have taken measures. We have already put in plans to make sure that the gap is bridged. That's one thing. Again, I think we need all Kenyans with us in the management of water. So we are now in the process of partnering with the Kenyans, wherever they are, and other partners, including civil society, including development partners. At least we need a lot of financing in this one. So we are now looking at who can support this process so that water management is complete.
All right.
Yeah.
One of the striking statistics, Ismail, is that Kenya requires close to 100 billion per year in terms of funding to the water sector. How much are we receiving as of now? And from this conference, what sort of models will you be looking at to attract financing?
Thank you. And I believe one of the key objectives of this conference is to look for alternative ways of financing. And we do understand that grants are becoming scarce. And that's why, in fact, if you look at our theme, from aid to trade, people are asking, are you trading with water? No, we're not trading with water, but it's at high time as a country. We need to sit down and ask ourselves, is it going to be business as usual?
All right.
And we have to look for alternative financing. And we have a good example, for example, right now, as a trust fund, we have an investment called result-based financing, where we are asking a water company to take a loan, and we provide subsidy for that. And I think Embu has done that with us already, and other WSPs, water services providers, are already taking also a shot on that. So I believe result-based financing is the way to go. Kifwa is another, this is the Netherlands embassy. They're also pushing for, basically financing water through the private sector also.
Correct.
They will actually be presenting at KICC. So it's good to think outside the box and not rely on grants, and also the county government to prioritize the budget that they have.
All right.
At that level.
Fantastic. Indeed, a good place to end the conversation. And throughout the week, we'll be spotlighting issues happening in the water sector. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for making time.
Thank you.
And that also takes us back to our Twitter poll. Today, we're asking you, are you content with the cost and accessibility of water in your area? Are you content with the cost and accessibility of water in your area? Do send us in your feedback using our Twitter handle at KT News, or you can tweet me at